We are southwest of the Twin Cities, on the north bank of the Minnesota River in Carver County. Chaska sits where the wide river bottoms meet gently rising bluffs, close enough to the metro to feel its pull, yet still holding the shape and pace of an old river town. The valley around us is far too large for the calm river that threads it today. At the close of the last ice age, meltwater from Glacial Lake Agassiz burst south as a torrent known as the River Warren. That vanished flood gouged out this broad valley, and the modern Minnesota River is only a quiet stream left behind in a giant's channel. When the first surveyors arrived, Chaska stood on the edge of the big woods, a dense band of maple, basswood, oak, and elm that once covered much of south-central Minnesota. This deep hardwood forest gave shade, timber, and game, and its rich soils would later draw farmers who cleared the trees acre by stubborn acre. Long before any street was platted, this was Dakota land. The Dakota people call this country Mni Sota Makoce, the land where the waters reflect the skies. The river was both highway and larder, its bottoms rich with fish, game, wild rice, and fertile ground for planting corn. At the very heart of downtown, in what is now the town square, rise low earthen mounds raised by ancient peoples of this valley long before recorded history. These quiet earthworks mark this river bend as a gathering place for more than 1,000 years, a spot chosen and honored generation after generation. The town's name comes straight from the Dakota language. Chaska is an anglicized spelling of Caske, the traditional name given to a firstborn son in Dakota families. The little river city carries that name to this day, an everyday Dakota word made into the identity of a place. By the early 1800s, the Minnesota River had become a corridor of the fur trade. French-Canadian voyageurs paddled these waters exchanging goods for beaver and muskrat, and the trader Jean-Baptiste Faribault kept a post in this reach of the valley. For a few generations, the river bend was a frontier of pelts, kettles, cloth, and kinship. In August of 1851, a frontier speculator named Thomas Holmes claimed a clearing on the riverbank and laid out the town site of Chaska. Steamboats soon churned up the shallow Minnesota, tying this landing to St. Paul and the wider world, and the young village grew into a busy river port shipping the produce of the valley downstream. The people who truly built Chaska came from across the ocean. Through the 1850s and 1860s, German immigrants poured into Carver County until it became one of the most German corners of Minnesota. They brought their language, their churches, their breweries, and their craft, and they set to work making a town from the clay and timber at hand. Beneath the river bottoms lay a treasure hidden in the ground deep beds of fine alluvial clay. Fired in local kilns, this clay did not turn the ordinary red of most brick. Its high lime content baked to a soft, pale cream. Beginning in 1857, brickyards rose along the river, and Chaska brick was born. The industry boomed. By the 1860s, 4 brickyards were running, and at the peak around 1910, Chaska turned out roughly 40 million bricks in a single year, a large share of the entire state's supply. Those cream-colored bricks built homes, churches, and storefronts here and across the region, and though the last yard closed in 1971, the brick still gives the old downtown its unmistakable glow. At the center of it all sits City Square Park, a classic town square of a kind rarely found in Minnesota. Ringed by cream brick buildings and shaded by old trees, the square has been the town's living room since the 1850s, a place for bands, markets, and summer evenings that ties the whole small city together. The valley's gift for growing things did not end with the farmers. Just up the road spreads the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum, a sweep of gardens, prairie, and woodland where the university studies what will thrive in a northern climate. It is a modern echo of an old truth, that this rich river country has always been good ground. Out here beyond the streets, the trail rolls through the river bottoms as the light goes gold and pink. Herons stalk the shallows. The water slides dark and slow past weathered concrete and tangled green, and the whole valley seems to exhale. This is the same river that carried steamboats, furs, and cream brick, still quietly doing its work. Thank you for riding down into the Minnesota River Valley with Fru World Explorer. If you enjoyed this journey through the cream brick town of Chaska, subscribe and come along for the next ride. There is always more to discover, one trail at a time.